Hey guys, welcome to episode 8 of our modern video series where we pick a deck in the format and run it through some matches on Magic Online, talking about the lists, sideboarding strategy, stuff like that. This week we have black-white tokens. This deck has popped up a few times here and there. A few people played it at Worlds, and then it always shows up in some lists, IQs, and on Magic Online and stuff. So we're going to take this for a spin, but real quick, want to say thank you to Modern Nexus and Card Hoarder for sponsoring the video series. For those that might be new, Modern Nexus hosts these videos both on their YouTube channel and on their website. So you're probably watching this at one of those two spots. So if you are, check out the other half. They've got a lot of great content. And Card Hoarder loans us all of the cards that we use to play decks. So definitely wouldn't be possible without them. You can check out their website at cardhoarder.com. So let's go ahead and jump into the deck tech. Alright, so starting with the main deck, one of the main, I guess, draws to some new interest in this strategy has been Gideon Ally of Zendikar. The list I'm using is one that we talked about in my BFC set review that got posted on Modern Nexus a couple weeks back when Gideon Ally of Zendikar was spoiled. Just as a possible, I guess, new spell that might be able to revitalize this archetype, maybe push it a little bit over the top. But Gideon's been pretty good in my testing so far. Just like after a sweeper being able to present 7 power with Summoning Sickness. So like they sweep the board, you drop a Gideon, make a 2/2. Next turn you can attack with a 2/2, and him as a 5/5 can give us a little bit of top end power. It'd be interesting to see where Gideon stacks up in the rankings of Gideon, Elspeth, and Sorin. Which all have, or Elspeth and Sorin are normally the planeswalkers that see play in these kind of tokens lists. But for those that might be new, the main, I guess, strategy of the deck is, Bitter Blossom and Intangible Virtue as 2 mana payoff enchantments for, playing with this token strategy. Intangible Virtue buffs all of our tokens, which is awesome with Spectral Procession. Gives us 6 power for 3 mana. Lingering Souls, you can give us 8 power for 5 mana, spread across multiple turns. Bitter Blossom is excellent when we're ahead, just continuing to make 1/1 tokens that we can get extra value out of with Intangible Virtue and Gideon, stuff like that. Just for 1 life a turn. It's been pretty good. But yeah, that's basically the strategy. Discard into one of these enchantments into a 3 mana token maker, and then trying to clean up with Path to Exile or Zealous Persecution, Liliana or Planeswalkers to provide like another angle of attack. The deck's a lot of fun to play, and I don't think we're doing anything crazy in the list. I really like Liliana the Veil. I think this deck needs. I would err on the side of like individually powerful cards more than like a whole bunch of synergistic stuff, which is why I'm interested in Gideon in the list. So a lot of lists aren't playing 2 Liliana and plus more on the board. Some only play like 1 if they play any at all. But I really like Liliana the Veil in this deck, so it'll be interesting to see how it goes. I think that's it for the main deck, so we'll be back in a second for the sideboard. Alright, so starting with the sideboard, Deathmark, good against these company decks, against elves. The Naya company, it's good against them as well. It hits the mana guys, all the way up to Tarmogoyf, Knight of the Reliquary, things like that. If it's a green or white creature, Deathmark will hit it. But yeah, those green/white creature decks are pretty popular in Modern right now, so I like having access to one of these. It's cheap. I don't think we need, something that's, I guess, a broader answer like a Doomblade or something like that. Because we already have 4 Path to Exile and 2 Dismember in the main deck that can handle, Deceiver Exarchs or Gurmag Anglers or things like that. So I like Deathmark as a cheap option that doesn't really cost us much of anything, and, good for those specific matchups. It's possible that we might need help somewhere else, and we can cut the Deathmark, but I imagine the green-white decks that play Tarmogoyf are able to hit us hard enough that we need we just need an extra answer to deal with those kind of threats. So Deathmark probably is worth a slot. Thoughtseize is the 8th discard spell. We are only playing 7 in the main deck. We could cut a Liliana of the Veil and play the 8th, but I don't think we need to. I like the split the way it is. But yeah, this strategy can have a lot of trouble against combo decks because we're not able to provide or like apply a quick enough clock. So we really need help in the discard category to disrupt our opponent while, you know, we slowly take over the game with Bitter Blossom. We're still capable of those fast draws, like, you know, Intangible Virtue into Spectral Procession and, you know, into like another token maker, and then they're dead in a couple turns. But again, that's still like, you know, a turn 5 or 6 kill in a turn 4 format. So the discard is necessary and really helpful against control and combo, and you know, Inquisition and Kozilek, great against burn, great against infect, stuff like that. So I'm playing a full playset of Liliana the Veil in the 75. I just love this card. I feel like it's one of the main draws to having black, and while it's not an auto 4 of, I think it's great in this type of strategy, or at least the way that I play it. I'm just interested in individually powerful cards that provide like another angle of attack and isn't so easily disrupted by, you know, if they're able to kill our Intangible Virtue, you know, we're in trouble from there because we've just got like a couple 1/1s floating around and aren't really doing much. But once you start adding cards like Liliana the Veil and Gideon into your deck, you start to become, you know, have some more individually powerful elements, and our deck will be better, you know, top decking going late, instead of, you know, drawing Intangible Virtue on empty boards, stuff like that. So I like having access to the Liliana. I like having the extra help against combo, and plus it's awesome. So Nihil Spellbomb. This one I'm trying out just because I needed a 15th sideboard card. It could be something else like an Auriok Champion or something, but I just like having a little bit extra insurance against you know, the Grixis control decks, Living End, you know, decks that use their graveyard. But yeah, we'll see. I again, like, it doesn't do that much, and it could possibly be something else. You know, a lot of the sideboard options in Modern are, you know, high impact, and Nihil Spellbomb really isn't that high impact. And even the decks where we're bringing it in against, like Grixis Control, they don't necessarily care about it. Like, it slows them down, but maybe just another threat might be better. So I could see cutting it for something else, but until I have a little bit more experience with the deck, I'm just gonna try it out. So we're doing, I guess I'll group these together. Burrington, Forge Tender, Auriok Champion, Core Firewalker, Townley Reinforcements. They all come in against burn, but they all do slightly different things. Auriok Champion is really good against the Grixis decks also, just because it just stops like a Tasker dead in their tracks, and they don't really have a way to get rid of it. You know, the Grixis Delver decks probably have things like Vapor Snag, so it's not as good against them, but still great because Vapor Snag only slows them down. But yeah, Auriok Champion with a Bitter Blossom out is awesome because we just get free tokens, and a lot of times when we're able to stall and like lock up the board with our Bitter Blossom tokens, while we're like trying to generate some advantage with a Planeswalker, our opponent's hoping that we die to our own Bitter Blossom, and once Champion comes down, you know, that avenue of victory is pretty much shut off. So I really like Auriok Champion and probably want to, you know, try and squeeze a couple more in here if possible. You know, maybe we cut the Forge Tender, but having insurance against Anger of the Gods / you know, Radiant Flames or things like that. You know, Burrington Forge Tender might be worth it. It's possible we cut a Core Firewalker for more champions, since they do similar things, but you know, Auriok Champion doesn't help us against burn when they're looking to just burn us out, where Core Firewalker turns all of their bolts into shocks, which, you know, sometimes can be enough. But we'll see. I definitely feel like we do have a lot of options for burn. Like, you know, we're bringing in the Celestial Purge, we have these timely reinforcements, things like that, to where we might not need the Firewalkers. We might just be able to get by with, you know, a couple more Auriok Champions, but we'll see. Stony Silence for Affinity and Tron, other decks that use artifacts, Lantern Control, stuff like that. Again, like, we're playing 3 because, you know, we live off the top of our deck against, you know, other decks that have access to Stony Silence. A lot of them have either blue card draw or are only playing like 1 or 2 copies just because they have access to more colors, so they have more sideboard options. Us being, reduced to black-white and then, no library manipulation at all. If we're looking for a Stony Silence, we probably need more than one or two. It's just, we're not going to be, it's not going to be very likely that we're going to draw it when we need it. So that's why we have 3. Yeah, obviously, if Affinity no longer becomes a gigantic part of the meta game, same with Tron, we can start trimming some Stony Silences for other stuff, but so far 3 seems like the right number, and I think I've covered everything. Celestial Purge, it's fine against Jund. It hits a lot of stuff, but, we have Path to Exile and Dismember for their Tarmogoyf, and then Celestial Purge hits pretty much everything else besides Scavenging Ooze. And then, it's got other applications as well. So I think that's it. One other thing I'll say about the list that I forgot in the main deck portion is that we're trying out Shambling Vent. We'll see if it ends up being worth it, or if it'll hurt us, not being able to go turn 1 discard, discard into enchantment into 3-drop because you have a Shambling Vent that comes into play tapped. We'll see. This deck is often playing from behind just because, on our turn 2 we're playing a threat that doesn't immediately do anything to the board, like Bitter Blossom. You can count Intangible Virtue as a threat. So we're often behind, and Shambling Vent might... Oh, my webcam is frozen. This always happens. Shambling Vent might, be really... I lost my train of thought. Shambling Vent could hurt us in those situations where we're trying to curve out and we have to take a turn off of development because we're, have to play this land that comes into play tapped. So we'll see what happens. The same with Windbrisk Heights, but Windbrisk Heights is definitely better than Shambling Vent. I think our mana is good enough that if we can afford to play more tap lands, the Shambling Vent should probably be Windbrisk Heights. But we will see. I think that's it. We'll go ahead and give this a spin and see how we do. So I'll be back in a little bit for the matches.